I guess going back, my career has been motor trade. I started when I was 18 and I went from sort of selling up to sort of business manager, new car controller. Then later on, our paths crossed with Lee and Richard. And whilst we were sitting there talking about various things, Lee's phone went off and he said, "Oh, Dad, we just sold another car and we've done 3 today." And I said, "Oh, what system's that?" And he said, "Oh, it's our own." And this was in like a earlier iteration. Had a bit of a chat around that, similarities around obviously the DMS side of things. And then it was not till about 2 years later when I worked for them, started using DealerKit on a day-to-day basis. And those that have had experience in the motor trade will know you've got like 10 or 12 different systems and none of them talk to each other. And I was like, wow, it's one system, does everything, and it's simple and easy and intuitive to use. Probably a couple of years later, we said actually we could help other independents. And we sort of took the gamble and went to market. And I think the main thing for us, it's been built by car dealers for dealers. And it's nice to kind of give that back to the dealer network and help them out really.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 46 of DealerPod, the podcast where we talk to motor trade industry experts nationwide to find out about their businesses and gain any insights that they may have to help you with your car sales operation. My name's Stephen Douglas and I'm joined today as always by Scott Sibley and Martin Carr, and today's podcast is sponsored by Dealerway, the UK's fastest growing platform for motor dealers to trade cars with other like-minded dealers. Now, before we jump into the episode, I'd really appreciate it, as always, if you could just hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And really, please do hit that like button and leave your comments down below because it helps us grow the podcast week after week. And we want to keep putting these podcasts out because we know you enjoy them. So really, please hit the like button, put your comments down below, and it'll help us massively. So, all right, before we introduce this week's guest, let's do This Week in the Motor Trade.
This Week in the Motor Trade, brought to you by AutoGrab.
So, This Week in the Motor Trade, sponsored by our partners AutoGrab. Now, always, as I say, I've been personally using AutoGrab myself over the past few months. It enables myself to buy stock direct from the general public, from private listings that I probably otherwise would have missed. It's all in one user interface, and I think it's an absolute fantastic piece of kit. I think so far this month we've now bought 8 cars from it, all local to ourselves. And without that piece of software, I literally wouldn't have been able to buy those cars. I wouldn't even have known about them. So make sure you check that out. And if you would like to know more about AutoGrab, just make sure that you check out in the YouTube description below that there's a link there. Just click through the link, and if you sign up using that link, you mention DealerPod, you get a huge 25% off your first 3-month subscription. So this week in the motor trade, chaps, how have we been getting on? Martin, I think we'll start with you for a change. Yeah, what's it been like out there when you've been talking to dealers on a day-to-day basis with Dealerway? What's everyone saying? What's the crack?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think everyone's sort of saying the same sort of thing. It's a bit quiet this week, which is, to be fair, I don't think being quiet's such a bad thing, in all honesty. I mean, what it's enabled us to do is actually get out and see some dealers. I mean, we spent a bit of time Wednesday over the northwest, so visiting dealers in sort of the Carlisle area, and then down in Penrith. So it was good having some good chats with some of the dealers down there.
Who did you go and see, like, Martin?
Border City Cars, they've just signed up with us. So we've been to see them. Obviously Harper's, who were already on the system. They were on. Spent a bit of time with a van dealer as well, JDM Automotive as well. To be fair, cracking lad. So yeah, there's some. It's very, I don't know about, it's a bit different in Newcastle, Carlisle, in the respect of, obviously, they've got the top end, which is where all the sort of main dealers are. And then you come down to the bottom end, and it's like loads of independents. And they're just all congregate together. I mean, to be fair, probably a bit like, obviously, people who are not from the area, a bit like Whitley Bay with us, whereby you've got the Silverlink, which has got all the main dealers on.
Main dealers in one place.
And then Whitley Bay, you've got that road where there's just dealer after dealer after dealer of sort of independence. So yeah, it was good to get out and obviously see some people who've been using the platform. Also put faces to names and what have you as well. But again, it's a bit like, obviously I was saying, it is a little bit quiet. So what people are doing is they're spending a bit of time getting back to basics. You know what I mean? Because they've got the time to spend, putting processes back in place, or making sure that they're looking at the processes in the right way, how they're looking at part exchanges and what have you, in different things. It's been quite good, in all honesty, even though it has been a little bit quiet.
You know, when I'm quiet, I don't look at any processes or nothing like that. I just panic like hell and sit with my head in my hands.
But that's the thing, you've got to look at the time. You've got to use it wisely, everyone says.
And I just sit and whinge and moan and kick cups over and shout at staff and all the rest of it. Aye. What about Redgate, Scott? How he's been getting on?
Shit. Yeah, absolutely shite. And
really, as bad as that?
I reckon I've had I would say close to 10 messages from people in the trade who have either been on the podcast or people up and down the country and said, on the lines of, tell the truth, Scott, hopefully are you busy? To give her like a little bit of inspiration, but I said no.
Would you responded saying yes?
It's quite flat out. I did loads of WhatsApps, but no. Like truth be told, I think on the last podcast I said we were about like maybe 20 units behind where we'd like to be, and I think we're probably still are. We've sold cars since then. We're just like trickling away, but it's not good. But I keep blaming the government and this. The budget and all that, which I think is putting a bit of doom and gloom out there. Whether that's right or not, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to buck the trend a little bit. We've been chocker. Just kind of stop selling cars.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Have you?
I
thought you were spewing the other day.
No, we've turned a little corner. We're doing all right for the month. The month's looking canny.
So anybody listening to this podcast in the country, you need to look at Rat Finance.
No.
And there's massive margins, massive commissions. You don't have to deal with customers and just deliver the car to the customer and just sign them into that deal that they can't afford.
We don't do rat finance, right? There's no such thing. It's called subprime car finance. We help people out in that time of need with a quality used vehicle.
That's true.
Yes, that is correct.
The slang version's rat finance. I shouldn't say that.
No, you cannot treat customers like that. Our customers are the salt of the earth.
But no, in the motor trade, it's known as that, isn't it? Tell the truth.
I'll not have it. I'll not have it.
No one talks about my customers like that.
No, to be fair, we've been doing all right. It's the same old, isn't it? You're busy, and then all of a sudden you're looking outside, and the forecourt's looking a bit bare, and I'm just desperate for cars. I've probably been, when you mentioned you're 20 sales short. I've probably been 20 cars in stock short for the last 6 months. I just can't seem to buy enough cars to get on top of where I need to be. And it's not so much buying the cars, it's prepping the cars as well. It's just always the bloody same old, isn't it?
I might select site that way down. I was just talking to Peter today about it. I could drop 30 on there easy today. 30 cars, and I could probably drop on there, I reckon 50 and squeeze them in, no problem, and that's where it needs to be. And I was doing we've got 34 cars in stock over £25,000, which is 1.1 million, and those cars have probably still got the same margins in of a car which is 15 grand. And if you have a 30 grand car, obviously you're better off having two 15 grands with your margin in those and selling those two quicker than you will do with the 30 grand one. So I think we're going to have a different approach.
Do you think you're going to try and get out of them cars and move away from them then?
I think so. I think we're more like I'm not saying a car supermarket, but we tend to have a car for everybody, which is like, we're missing small cars, we're missing family cars for like 15, 18 grand. And, we're a bit sports and prestige top heavy. And some of the likes of the 3 Series BMWs we've maybe got like 15 new shapes in. Some of them are like salesman spec, which has got the crappy wheels on. They're just a bit like basic. Still nice cars, but not really getting very good clicks on social media and auto trade and so on.
Do you not think, like you being the self-proclaimed Northeast number one?
UK.
UK number one, right?
Get it right, please.
Do you not think that's maybe a bit of a fallacy then? It's just in your mind, because really, if you were the top dog, so to say, that you would just be able to sell those cars like other dealers do, but you seem to struggle with them. Is that not?
No, I think UK still stands, but right. I will moan about the Northeast. There's not enough people here.
Right,
but I've said that plenty. That's what it is.
No, I agree. I totally agree.
But I think that, the BMW for like 30, 35 grand, I think if it's full of spec and it's the right colour and people are looking for it, you're going to sell it straight away. Whereas the the more basic M Sport with not much extra features on there. If we've got 6 or 7 in stock where they're just like sitting there, you know, and I think we need to just change it around slightly.
Do you not think it's just with the Northeast we're all paupers, we've got no money and they won't afford 35, 40 grand cars?
Well, it can, yeah.
I think, honestly, I think if you were in London,
no, you're
it would
right.
be a totally different kettle of fish, wouldn't it?
No, you're right. And different, like Manchester, you know, but very like techie areas and office people, and they can get
a lot
all the
more affluent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I think the Northeast. I'm not saying we're like stuck with the ships and the shipbuilding and mines, but there's still plenty of money in the Northeast. But I think in general, it's more like I'm saying, 15 to 25,000 pound cars. There's going to be more customers, people with that in the Northeast than 30s and 40s. Although they still have got them at the top end, but I think we're going to change the model slightly and just trial that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Even like miles and years, like maybe slightly newer with lower miles and so on.
Yeah.
People want value for money.
In today's competitive used car market, staying ahead means finding the right stock at the right price every time. I use AutoGrab to do exactly that. With endless listings and constant market shifts, it's tough to know what's worth chasing, but AutoGrab cuts through the noise. Their platform shows me where the value is, lets me filter for high margin stock, and alerts me when the right cars hit the market. If you want better margins and smarter sourcing, head to autograb.co.uk today. Make sure you mention DealerPod when signing up to get 25% off your first 3-month subscription. So I think we'll get on to introducing today's guest then. So obviously we both run Dealership Scott, and we both have DMS systems. I use currently Click Dealer, and I know you use Dragon. But I've been looking at shifting over from Click Dealer because it just doesn't do everything that I needed to do. And I've probably dragging my heels a bit. Really, I need to get it sorted. And one of the platforms I've been looking at is DealerKit, and luckily today we've managed to get the sales director on from DealerKit. So I'd like to welcome to the podcast, Mr. Ian Cooper. Hi Ian, how's it going, mate? You okay?
Hi guys, very well, thank you. I've been trying to quietly be. Stop laughing in the background at all that chat. No, thanks for having us on. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, fantastic. Happy days. So, Ian, DealerKit's making a few noises, a bit of wave in the trade. I see it regularly. I see your customers regularly sort of like posting comments in various Facebook groups and forums, when people are asking, which DMS provider do you use? Or, I'm sick of mine and I want to switch. And you seem to have a lot of people on your platform who are big advocates. I know Jamie Capel, who's a big friend of the show, sort of shouted from the rooftops as well. He's made a video for you as well, hasn't he? Yeah.
He has, yeah, and normally we have sort of prompt questions for sort of like the content we want, sort of thing, and it will take a few attempts, but literally Jamie went, guys, don't ask me questions. I've got this. One take, one go.
I can imagine.
Just shoot, point and shoot, and he just did it in one go, and it was like, wow. Couldn't ask for a better testimonial, but it came from the heart, and it was, they're great guys up there. They've been a real addition.
Stephen's he's got a signed photograph of Jamie Capel in his office.
God's sake! I wish you'd get some better crack.
Like natural
It
Libre.
never dies, does it, Martin? That one.
No,
it's famous.
I'll tell you what,
like
as well, talking of videos, he's done another video with a guy, and I'm sure I've seen him before on Joe Betty's podcast a while ago. He's got like a farmer's look about him. He wears like a tweed jacket and whatever.
Sam from What's on Call.
Yeah, that was a mint video.
It's
of
good,
that.
yeah. I've seen that.
Was
really good.
We actually did one originally with the two girls from Wink Cars.
Yeah,
yeah. And they were such great characters, and we wanted to do a bit of an advert, and we hadn't really done any marketing up to that point, and we thought we want to show a bit of fun side to us as a business and the team that we've built, and they would tell us how they wanted to do some content for their YouTube channel, and the concept was kind of like they were struggling with manual processes, they were using post-it notes and that kind of thing, manual diaries, and they were really struggling as they grew and built the business, and they kind of saw us as a bit of a second opportunity to sort of change the business and a bit of a saviour, and they wanted me to come, and I hate being on camera. This is my worst thing possible. I hate it. Face for radio. But we went to them and sort of said, could we do a testimonial video? And they said, whilst you're here, could we do a bit of a fun thing for our social media? And the idea was I was going to turn up with a bit of a halo around my head as an angel sort of thing and sort of save all their problems. And we thought, actually, we could sort of spin that into a bit of an advert. So we recorded one with them. And then I was at an event with Sam and he'd sort of seen the advert and said, I'll be up for doing one of those, old chap, as he is. And I said, well, I'm coming down your way to come and see you. So we literally just did it from my phone. It wasn't professionally done with Matt, who does all our marketing stuff. But it was all about the time he saved with DealerKit. He can now go and do all the things he loves doing, like shooting birds and catching pheasants and chopping wood. And he's always got beer on the go. And I think we had about 5-6 pints whilst doing it, sort of thing. Right. But he's such a great guy. And we just got back from the Motor Trade Milo event with Joe Betty as well. And Sam was on that and didn't let us down with entertainment value, really. But in the Hurst,
it's just like Scott.
I'm going to get that edited out of the podcast to edit after this little section what we're speaking about now. I'm going to get him to put that video in so everyone can see it because I like it. It's really good. So we'll put it in.
The reason why I love DealerKit, it enables me to go on wonderful country walks. Getting on with the bloody gardening. Chopping some bloody wood.
Driving around in my Volvo.
Catching some bloody pheasants. Cooking up a stall.
Becoming one with nature.
Having a bloody pint of beer. Boy, bastard.
Or two. Cheers, DealerKit.
Bloody pheasants.
The funny thing was, we was going to sort of film him sort of shooting pheasants and stuff, which he does, but his gun had to go back to, I think, his mum's address or something, so the gun wasn't there. So he's like, oh, don't worry. He said, I'll go and catch one with bare hands. And I was like, well, where are you going to find a pheasant? He went, oh, there's loads around here. And we sort of went around the corner to this sort of lake just where he lives in the middle of nowhere. And there's pheasant everywhere. So he just, at one point, we're driving along, he just pulls the handbrake up, jumps out of the car and goes, film this here. And he just runs after his pheasant and jumps in the hedge, which is like the final shot you see. And then he didn't quite get it. And I didn't quite film it quick enough, so I missed the pheasant. So then he said, oh, don't worry, we'll go down to the pond, there'll be loads around there. So we went to the pond and again, just stopped the car in the middle of the road, shot across. This time I got it and he stacked it. And as he got up, he was just covered in, excuse my French, duck shit all over him. And I couldn't stop laughing all afternoon. So we had some fun with that one.
I bet you did, And
then obviously Jamie and Craig were up for doing one as well. So they were great sports. And again, the concept was about bringing them into the modern day.
Mint. So Ian, just starting from the start then, obviously before we get into asking you questions about DealerKit, just want to know a little bit about yourself and sort of how you managed to get into, you know, the software business of the motor trade. Because I had watched was it Lee's podcast that he'd done with Car Dealer, and obviously your name came up. And they were praising you, saying that you were a superstar and you never stopped. They've obviously seen it. But, you know, they mentioned that you were actually working for their dealership at the time, because DealerKit, for anyone that didn't know, started inside a dealership, didn't it? In like a custom system. And you were actually one of the sales guys or the sales manager, is that right?
Sort of general manager at the time. So I guess going back, my whole career has been motor trade. I started when I was 18 with Vauxhall at Tone Lavoie in Lakeside, and then kind of went into Prestige with Audi, and that was where most of my time was spent. And I went from sort of selling up to sort of business manager, new car controller, and then they sort of moved me within the group I think I was there for about 17 years in total, but I then moved to run a JLR showroom. Tricky brand, I'm sure you're all pretty aware, but spend most of your life dealing with buybacks, rejections, recoveries, issues. But I met Lee and Richard through them actually being a customer. So they came into JLR and placed an order on a Defender. And just as a general sales manager, I went out and introduced myself, thanked them for their business and took their deposit, got talking. And there's a much longer story behind this with I had an idea when I was working for Audi around software, and I kind of went and set up my own company, built a product. And when I presented it to the group on automotive who I worked for at the time, they kind of saw it as a conflict of interest, and they said, look, it's fantastic, it solves a load of problems, but you've got to choose whether you want to have a career with us or go and do your own thing. And at the time, I had a young family, mortgages to pay, and I couldn't really afford to not have an income for a year or two whilst you hopefully build a business. So I had to sort of shelve it, and it kind of always gutted me because I put my heart and soul into that. But then later on, our paths crossed with Lee and Richard, two of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in the industry, just genuine people. We just clicked. And whilst we were sitting there talking about various things, Lee's phone went off, and he said, oh, Dad, we just sold another car, and we've done 3 today. And I was like, what's that? And DealerKit will send you text notifications to generally the directors to keep you abreast as the day goes on, what you're selling, who you sold it to, if there's a part exchange coming in, the profit you've made, and whether you sold a product at a warranty, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's really good. And I said, oh, what system's that? And he said, oh, it's our own. And this was in like a earlier iteration, and had a bit of a chat around that, similarities around obviously the DMS side of things. And then it was not till about 2 years later, they sort of reached out and said, look, I think Richard was sort of trying to take a bit more of a back step from, that's the dad, from running the business. He's done it for 40 years this year, still going strong. But they wanted someone to sort of come in and run the 2 sites, and they've got a separate body shop as well. So I was like, yeah, do you know what? I sort of fancy a stab at that. So anyway, went and worked for them, started using DealerKit on a day-to-day basis, and those that have had experience in the motor trade main dealer franchise will know you've got like 10 or 12 different systems and programs open. None of them talk to each other, and you'll have one for accounting, one for your photos and stock management and bits and pieces, CRM. And I was like, wow, it's one system, does everything, and it's simple and easy and intuitive to use. But there were certain things that running their business, I was kind of coming across problems and I couldn't access that information. So I just, because of the way my brain works, I started offering ideas and suggestions back to Oliver, who's the genius behind DealerKit and built it all. And I'll go into a bit more about the history with there. And we got to a point where it's probably a couple of years later, we said, actually, we could help other independents. So we looked at the likes of other competitor products. I won't name names, but we felt they were a little bit behind the times and haven't really progressed over the years. And there were some real high-tech solutions we were using that we thought would save time and money in dealers. And we sort of took the gamble, and we sort of went to market and never looked back since, really. And those first couple of dealers, we started off with friends that we knew in the industry, and they'd asked about what we're using. And then it just kind of went from word of mouth and referrals. And we're sort of now growing by about 20, 25 dealers a month, and right away across the UK. And it's all going really well. We've won 5 awards since we started, but it's all down to our dealers, really, and we've built some really good relationships with all of our dealers, really. But thankfully, like I say, on the Facebook group, they're all saying very kind things and recommending us to other people. And I think the main thing for us, it's been built by car dealers for dealers, and we've built it around our own experience and how we run a used independent. And when we go into dealers, and we like to be very personal and go and visit everyone in person, we can talk the talk. We're not just sort of people that have come from university or other trades and have sort of learnt a system and how it works. We actually know the motor trade, so we can go into dealers, and we don't aim to, but we indirectly consult and give advice, and sort of, if they ask opinions about the market trends and distance selling regulations and all the little things that we know about, and it's nice to kind of give that back to the dealer network and help them out, really.
Well, there's a bit of synergy there with obviously DealerKit and Dealerway, made by dealers for dealers, like as me and Scott will say. We built our system just off the back of what we would wanting, we thought was missing. And you know, like yourselves, we know the motor trade, or we like to think we know the motor trade inside out. And I think it's refreshing to see somebody else who's very similar, who, you know, hasn't just started a product and thought, oh, right, I think I could sell this to the motor trade, but I know nothing about the motor trade, and I just know software. And it's good to see. Well, I've obviously seen the system, how to play around with the system, and I think it's fantastic. And you can tell whoever's, you know, been there from the off, they do understand the motor trade, and they're not like just software people. And you know, when you've got pain points and you think, well, how do I fix that pain point, and then putting it on the screen and making it actually work, I think it's great. I think he's done a good job. Obviously took a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, and sort of going back, I mean, DealerKit probably first started 14 years ago, and basically Lee and Richard, who own Richley Motor Company in the southeast of in Essex, Richard started the business himself 40 years ago. It was very much manual processes, you know, Excel spreadsheets, WhatsApp groups eventually, but pen and paper. And as they grew and they got to, so they're now about 150 cars, 2 sites, body shop, workshop, valeting. They kind of got to a point, I think Lee, being the younger generation, as he got involved with the business, was seeing all the problems and the time that's being wasted. And he sort of said, look, Dad, we need to streamline the business. We need to sort of be more efficient, and encouraged him to look at DMSs. And I think Rich will be the first to admit he's not very tech savvy and hates computers. And like he always says, I never wanted a DMS, but now I've got one, I couldn't be without it. Yeah. But they went looking at all the other competitors on the market, and just straight away was either too complicated, too fussy, or wasn't that intuitive, or it didn't offer the aspects they needed, like the prep management and things like that. So they almost gave up and said, well, we know what we want, we know the problems we face, let's go and build our own. And that's when Oliver came in. So Oliver, what he doesn't know about tech is not worth knowing. And it doesn't matter what subject you talk to him about, he's just a genius, he knows everything. But he was doing their website for them at the time, and he used to do a bit of that and did all their printed material with graphic design. But his main skill set was developing and coding. And he's worked for big companies in the past, like Coca-Cola and things like that. But they went to him and said, could you build us a digital invoicing tool? I think was the first thing they came to. Yeah, no problem. So they sort of paid him to do that, built that. They said, wouldn't it be good if we could sort of feed all our stock to one platform and then send out to all the advertising channels? Yeah, built the integrations and set that up. Then it sort of moved on to like, we're leaking inquiries, and there's leakage there, and we're not maximising those opportunities. Could you build a robust CRM system and lead management inquiry tool? And basically over like a 10-year period, I think Oliver spent like 3-4 days a week in the business, and he would sit with the valeter and sit with the sales guy, sit with the accountant, the mechanic, and go, right, what do you need it to do? How do you want it to look? Where can we make it easier? Okay, can we make that 3 clicks into 1 click and condense it down? And he'd sit there and code on the fly and test it with the guys there. And bit by bit, it sort of grew.
Just sit inside the business on his laptop doing it live.
Yeah. They had like a portal cabinet at the back where he'd sit in sometimes, from what I understand, but he'd also just sit in the workshop and start coding. And as I said, it grew and grew and grew. It was only ever originally built to run Richley Motor Company and help them. But it eventually got to a point where we said we could actually help other independents. We felt we was a little bit ahead of the game, and that's kind of where it started, really. But one of the features we'd have is, you know, if you buy cars from auctions, BCA, Mannheim, Aston Barclay, anywhere like that, you can just fire the invoice straight to the system using an email. And it'll basically, within 3 to 5 seconds, it'll import that vehicle, and it'll take all the information from where you bought it from, the date, the mileage, and split all the costs out. So you'll have the purchase price, the buyer's premium indemnity fee, all the things that take time. And we'd be at the auction buying stock, and we'd have friends that we knew in the trade, and they'd look on our website and go, how have you got that car? The hammer's just gone down and it's already on your website. And we said, oh, well, we've already given the email address to the auction house. They fire it straight to DealerKit, and then someone's there, just puts the price in, and it's online.
Very clever, yeah.
So then we started getting people asking us, saying, oh, what system's that? And we were like, oh, it's our own system. And then obviously they started going, oh, could we have a look? Could we have a little go? So it started off, we'd used to host sort of evenings at the Billericay site or showroom, and we'd get sort of pizzas and a few beers and drinks in and stuff, and we'd host it, put it on the big screen, show them the system, and that was kind of like our first customer. And then obviously as it grew across the UK, and now we're sort just over 300 dealers across the UK, and as far as Inverness, down as sort of Devon and Cornwall, Northern Ireland, yeah, I've done a few miles. Going to see everyone in person.
There you have.
Yeah, car's about to be changed. It's got so many miles on it.
I bet you're sick of being on that bloody M1.
It's the M25 that kills me.
M25,
Doesn't matter what time of day you go, you get stuck. It's just a big car park. But I don't mind. Initially, I used to sort of struggle with like anything more than an hour driving, and now I look at a 3-4 hour drive and it's nothing. Whereas it's the 5, 6, 7 hours that.
Killer.
But it's great. I mean, it's lovely going out and seeing these dealers. You know, we've got to know them all in person. You build really good relationships with them, and when they call you up on the phone, hence the phone doesn't stop all the time. You know, you've got a face to a name, and you know them. You know their business. We get to know their processes, their pain points, and that's where there's a lot of adaptation and flexibility within DealerKit. So we kind of configure it the way their business needs to run. And there's also custom features that we build for some dealers that other independents wouldn't use or don't have, but it suits them and the way they operate.
Can you give us any examples of that and custom things that you have done for specific dealers, Ian? Because I think that any dealer watching the show now who's obviously interested in maybe changing the DMS, that they might...
Don't all start putting your requests in straight away.
No, I get
The car's not due till next month.
It would be nice though for I mean, obviously me and you had a conversation yesterday, didn't we, about a specific need that maybe my business would need, which I know you said you'd look into, but I just think that personal touch, because you don't get that from most companies. It's like, oh no, here's the system, this is what it does, it's in a box, and then you ask questions, does it do this, does it do that, and it's, oh no, it doesn't do that, and then that's it, it's gone, you know. Like I just think the fact that you're even open to that's a really good thing. Just, can you give us some examples of maybe things that you have done for a dealer in the past?
Yeah, so I mean, in general, we love to work. We've got a list as long as our arm of further ideas to add to DealerKit. So it's continually developing, it's continually pushing forward, and we want to innovate and keep ahead of the game. But a lot of that's our own ideas, but at the same time, we love to listen to what our dealers want. And obviously, we kind of look at a few things. So we look at it on demand, I suppose. So if 85% of our dealer network is asking for this feature, we think, well, that's got to be prioritised because that's going to benefit the most number of dealers. But there'll be scenarios like we've got LMC down in Thurrock, big dealership. They're selling, I think, between 200-300 cars a month. But they had a contract with Enterprise. So when COVID happened and there was a chip shortage and you couldn't get the new car stock, Enterprise looked to try and find suppliers for sort of nearly new cars or used cars that they could put on their fleet. So they were supplying, I think, about 150-200 cars a month just to Enterprise. So they had a massive body shop operation or prep centre, and we went to them, and we already had features that kind of worked on that side, on the prep side, but they almost were like a conveyor belt system, and there was like a quality check that it would go to, and it wouldn't move to the next stage until that QC check was done. So to date, no one else works in that way. It was asked for it, so we've just developed it for them. But there's loads of little things that we can do with dealers, and there's so many examples. I couldn't even think to list them all. But if someone says, "Oh, actually, we operate this way. Could you just change our?" I mean, there's little things from all of our document packs. When you create an order form or a handover pack, you can customise what forms go in those document packs, what they look like. We'll do, for example, say you sell warranties, extended warranties. It may be that you want it conditionally adding documents based on your triggers. So if someone says, no, I don't want a warranty, it can then tell it to add a document that says, I've signed to say I'm open to the full risk and I've not took a warranty. But equally, if they select they are having extended warranty, it will add the T's and C's in for that product and that tier. So there's a lot of customization based on what they do. Another example, we're just about to take on our biggest dealer yet. I don't know if I should say names or not, but they sell about 1,650 cars a month. Massive operation, big prep centre, and again, the way they work is so different to anyone else. So they have a big call centre where all the inquiries get fed into. They handle the inquiries, progress them through, get them propped on finance, and then once they've got almost like a deal agreed, then they'll feed the inquiry or get the customers to go to site and see the car, test drive it and take it away if they like it. But we're building now like a prep tracker. So we've already got what we call job cards. So when a car comes in, multiple ways to add job cards, whether it's a digital appraisal tool, failing items on a PDI, or just manually adding them. But if it needs dents, tyres, scratches, whatever it may be, paintwork, you can add those on there. And they feed into like a prep management tool, so you can see all the jobs by category. So say you get a dent man come around once a week, you can click into the dent category and it might show you 20 cars that need dents. It will show the panels and what needs doing, the reg number, and you can print them off and give it to the dent man as his work for the day. But it'll put them in like an order as well. So any sold cars will go to the top in handover date order, and then from there downwards will then be the rest of your stock. But what we want to now do with this company is they've almost got like a conveyor belt system where cars will go through stage by stage. So there'll almost be like a Kanban type system where you can move vehicles into a section and say, right, that's gone for wheels, that one's gone for trim repair, that's gone for paint, etc. And essentially you can move those cars in and track how many cars at any one point are at that stage. Yeah. You can see how long they've been there for. If it's bottlenecking and someone's slowing down the process, you'll spot that. And you can sort of see where it's been and how long for, and just drag and drop them, move them around, sort of thing.
So you're doing that for this specific dealer, but is that then getting released to the whole of the DealerKit?
Yeah, so certain features we'll build may be requested from one dealer, but we think actually other dealers of a similar size or that work in the same way will benefit. I think the smaller guys wouldn't necessarily do that because they might only have 2 or 3 cars being prepped at a time. Mm-hmm. But certainly the large operations, someone like Redgate, for example, you know, you may want to see where those cars are at for sure. So yeah, anything we build, we then release out, and we've got some new features coming that we're sort of testing at the moment that will follow suit.
Can you talk about any new features that you've got coming on the horizon?
Sure, I'll give you a little insight. Yeah, so I think probably the next feature we're due to drop, which should be on the 1st of December. We've got a few dealers testing it. And this is the beauty of having a dealership like Richley. So whenever we launch a new feature or create a new feature, we test it internally within DealerKit. Then we'll roll it out to Richley and let them test it. And if there are little bugs and glitches, which ultimately you're always going to get, we fix those. And then we kind of reach out to certain dealers that we think may be up for being guinea pigs, I suppose. Mm-hmm. And they put it on the beta platform. They'll test it, again, feedback. So a product that we've been testing at the moment is an item called auto entry. And essentially you can add in expenses to the vehicles. Some dealers we go to don't add expenses to their DMS system. They just put their purchases in, put the invoices in for the sale, and then the expenses go to the accountant and they'll be manually putting them into Xero or Sage, those kind of things. And it's generally because they want to see the accuracy and the breakdown of their expenses on a vehicle, but just haven't got the time or the resource to do it. Or those that have, you know, you're paying a member of staff to do that, or it's a big time consumer.
Which is us, to be fair. Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, it's a big part of it. And obviously that time can be spent using, to better effect, buying more cars, selling more cars, making money rather than just being bogged down with admin. That's where we try and come into it. So auto entry essentially is a great tool. You can use a QR code to open up your phone on your camera, take a picture of any invoice. It'll read the invoice using AI. It'll take the invoice number, supplier. It'll take the item description, the reg number if it's on there. If it's not, you can just handwrite it and it'll still pick it up. The costings, the breakdown of the VAT, and essentially it will then digitalize that into the system. Next to it, you'll see a photo of the scanned document. And you literally hit save and approve once you've agreed that the numbers are all correct and it's against the right car. It's probably running at 97% accuracy at the moment. And even when we've tried to break it with real dodgy handwriting from, you know, smart repairers or dent men, it still picks it up. And if you've got multiple vehicles with different lines on them, so say a dent man comes around, does 6 cars, writes them all down, takes it, and it will split each individual cost to each car.
Automatically as well, off the reg?
Automatically, yeah.
How about that?
You can also email a PDF. So if you get a part supplier that always emails them to you, you can give them that email address. They can feed it straight to DealerKit and it goes into there for approval. Hit one click, job done, it's against the vehicle. And obviously then if you're integrated with DealerKit with like an accountancy package like Sage or Xero, one more click and it all goes straight across. So you're not then paying your accountant to double load it, or certain team members within the business are having to do that feature.
So effectively using that, you know, like I've always said, we buy a lot of cars from Motorway and CarWow, and potentially could be done with Dealerway, I suppose. But could we give them the email address for our sort of DealerKit account for them to send invoices and it automatically go on to DealerKit?
Well, a slight tricky thing with motorways, because they only invoice you their fee, the actual purchase is from the end consumer, the customer.
Ah, right. Yes, I didn't think of that. Yeah.
However, we are about to launch a workaround, because we've got more and more dealers now using CarWow Motorway.
Yeah.
Is you'll be able to take a screenshot of the confirmation, which shows you the price, the fees, and the reg number and the details of the vehicle, and it'll process it in the exact same way as the auto entry. So you'll be able to send I was actually on a Teams call the other day with a customer, and we was testing auto entry. I was showing him how it's going to work. And I said, have you got a parts invoice to hand? And he said, I'm not printed on to hand. He said, I've got one on my screen, like a PDF. But he took a picture of his screen, and the screen was covered in dust and fingerprints. He had reflections of the lights. He had a silhouette of his thing in the background. I could barely see the details. They just picked it up like that, and it was straight against the car. And he was like, wow, I didn't think that was going to work. But yeah, if we took a screenshot of or took a photograph of the buying confirmation, it'll put it straight into the system and add the vehicle to stock. So, but we've got to just adapt something to make that work. So it's kind of, should be next week or two, it should be ready.
So what size team have you got at DealerKit now then, with you growing so quickly?
So we're still a relatively small company, I suppose, and a smaller team compared to some competitors, but we've built, I would say, a bit of a dream team, and we've been really blessed. So it started off with me, Lee and Oliver. I was kind of out on the road doing all the selling, then the onboarding, the training, bit of support, and all that sort of stuff. Then we grew, and Harrison joined us. Harrison used to actually work with me at South and Audi. Was one of my sales guys. Great guy. Reached out to even know that I was in part of DealerKit, and then when I saw his CV come across, I was like, I recognise that name. So Harrison joined us, and we then sort of split the role. So I would continue selling. I could see more dealers, and then once they've sort of signed up, he would then go out and follow behind me and do the onboarding training. He does a fantastic job of that, and customers love him. And then we started to realise that wasn't enough staff, so we then got Dan, who's based up in sort of Wakefield way, up north. Well, it's north for us anyway, south for you guys.
That's not north. That's not north. That's the middle of the country, that.
But yeah, more Midlands. So now Dan's, what we're now doing is splitting the roles. So we're sort of creating BDM roles. So Harrison now will sort of sell and onboard, but obviously cover his area. And Dan will do the same now in the Midlands. So it's sort of reducing some of the travelling that we're having to do, and we can be more efficient in our own business. And then we're just about to employ someone from Carlisle. So that will cover the Northern and Scottish regions. And then we've got Brandon, who joined us on support. So obviously the more dealers we had, the more questions were coming in. So Brandon does a fantastic job supporting our network, and we get a lot of good feedback from Brandon. Then we've got Matt, who looks after all our marketing, media, does our social media posting, websites and bits and pieces. And again, he's an absolute genius at what he does. And then we're just about to employ 3 more staff. Well, we've recruited 3 more staff. They're not joining us yet, but they're joining us. So we'll be 10 by Christmas. But we've been blessed. You know, we go to dealers and you see where certain team members don't fit in, or all the tricky bits you get with clashes of personality. But we wanted to make sure that as a company we grow with the same sort of culture, and everyone we all get on. Different characters, but we all get on so well. Everyone gives it 110%. They all work so hard. They all treat it like it's their own business, and you know, it's been really successful.
A quick message from our sponsors, Dealerway. Attention, DealerPod listeners. Do you want a better, quicker, more profitable way of trading out of your part exchanges or overage stock? List your cars on Dealerway today and connect with over 2,000 vetted trade buyers actively looking for vehicles. No hidden fees, no hassle. Start your own custom auctions from your desk or the palm of your hand in our game-changing app. Or advertise your stock on quick, easy, buy it now listens to our eager buyers who are waiting to quickly acquire vehicles. What are you waiting for? Join Dealerway today at dealerway.co.uk and streamline your disposals. Have you got any questions from Scott, from like a Redgate Lodge, wearing your Redgate Lodge hat, should I say? You know, you use a different DMS system Is there anything that you want to ask Ian, sort of why you would switch over from the one that you've got?
Well, I mean, I touched on it just before we got on air there. We moved over to Dragon, maybe it's about, I think it was probably about the time, I don't know when we did our first podcast, but I know Maz had moved over to DealerKit?
Yeah, Maz.
Yeah.
I think it was something like we moved over to Dragon about the month before. Maz mentioned that, and I heard about you in the background, so we didn't look like that. We closed a couple of the companies down and made it all into one company because my new finance Peter, he wanted everything just to feed into one. So we've got the 3 workshops with where they got all the techs onto their system. The body shop feeds into it, and then all the car sales came into one. So we spoke to a couple of providers like who were more like franchisee, but we found the systems were a little bit long-winded. So we went with Dragon in the finish, but we didn't actually speak to you guys at that point in time. So we went with Dragon at the time. Yeah, still time, yeah. And I think when you move over, to be fair to Dragon, I mean, it's not easy. And Peter said this because his background was Virtue for 10 years. And he said there'll be a lot of whinging and there'll be a lot of upset people because people don't like change. And there'll be a few, hurdles we've got to get over. And it was tough moving over. And I think when we moved, I was just sitting there when we were talking there, when we moved over to Click Dealer originally, I can't actually remember for the life of me who we were with before Click, because we're Click for years. So we used to have Click Dealer and we had Techman. So Click Dealer, we found very good. Jerry and the family and all that lovely people, and the system was good. And Techman, we found that very, very good as well as as a garage system was very good. And what was said was if you had them both together as one, that was the dream team. And if that was the case, we would never moved or look to have moved. But it was because that system wasn't speaking to that one, and you were working on 2 systems and then double invoicing and doing all that kind of thing. So that's why we went with Dragon. But moving over was naturally with any system. There was a few like teething problems, and we found that a few things were Dragon. There's quite a lot it didn't do, which Techman did for the workshop, which caused problems with our service advisors, with the techs, and says, well, it doesn't do this. You couldn't have like a tech working on this ramp and then moving onto that ramp there was just like loads of things which we took as a given with Techman, where Dragons wasn't quite doing it the same. So we had a few problems, but I went to Dragon and I says, can you do a system where when we're buying from Motorway and CarWow, instead of us working on pieces of papers and pens or a spreadsheet or something like that, can you put a system together where there's columns a bit like a spreadsheet where we put in the reg, we put in the car, we're looking at Motorway and you're going, right, it needs a bonnet painted, so you click bonnet and it's already got a pre-populated amount for that bonnet for the paint. It needs 4 diamond cut wheels. We've already pre-populated that, and so on. And then you've got your Motorway charging. So you'd go, it needs a bonnet, 4 wheels, Motorway, boom, 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 and then you can put your margin in. And then it works out what your bid is. And then if you did bid on the car and you get it, you then press a button and it just uploads everything into the system. So it would feed the body shop and say, this car's coming in, it needs, might need second check when it comes in. But the body shop would know, because you might not be picking that car up for like a week and a half. So they could plan in advance with what potential work could be coming in to like move it ahead. So we asked Dragon if they could do that, and the thought was a good idea, but nothing really materialed out of it. It was like maybe, I think we mentioned on the podcast actually, one of the earlier ones, might have been 6-8 months ago. And just nothing ever came of it. But they said that they thought it would be good for other dealers to do. But in answer to the question, Stephen, yes, Ian, does your system do that? Or would that be some kind of a thing what you could, say we were a customer of yours and says, can you build that type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I often go to dealers and ideas come up either with ourselves or with our dealers, and I'll think, how's that going to be done? And I'll speak to Oliver and go, Oliver, could we do this or could we do that? And his answer is always the same. It's like, Ian, anything's possible. It just comes down to cost or time. But we already got, obviously, the digital appraisal tool. So people buying through CarWow Motorway love this feature. So you can load the vehicle on. So when you agree to buy it, let's say you bought a car for $10,000 and the customer's described the car as being immaculate, but it's got one nick on the offside rear wheel. you can put that on before you go and see the car and save the appraisal, and you can perhaps put that in a zero cost. You can also upload photographs and thumbnails against that. So if they've uploaded a photograph of that, you can scan in documents like your V5 documents and bits and pieces, service history. But then when your driver goes out, he might have an iPad and he can go around and do his own appraisal. And then he might go around and say, well, actually, there's a dent in the door there that wasn't mentioned. There's a chip in the screen. There's a scratch on the bonnet. So they can put their little drop pins on the appraisal, highlight what needs to be done. The driver may not be in a position to sort of know whether that scratch on the bonnet is going to need a smart repair, mop and polish out, or be a panel respray and blend into two panels. So he may not know what to adjust that price-wise. So you could then log in remotely back at the office, see his appraisal, see the photographs of the damage, put an estimated cost against it, put notes on bits and pieces, and then it sort of itemises each item. So you can go to the customer, look, we're not knocking you for the wheel, but we didn't mention about this, this and this, and we've got to knock you £430. And you can use that to professionally devalue the car. And the same thing for interior. You can do trim repairs and worn seat bolsters, that kind of thing. And then there's like a checklist underneath. So like if you're going to do a road test, you may say, right, have I done a road test? Is a clutch okay? Is a gearbox okay? Suspension? Is a sat-nav present? Parcel shelf? All those sort of things. Again, you can customise in the back end whatever you want to ask and check on that vehicle. Same with the PDI inspection. And anything you fail on that, when you save it, it then automatically creates those job cards and starts to feed the prep process for when that car gets back. But with the, like, for example, BCA, we're just about to build a feature for this new deal that's coming on board where they buy about 250 cars a week from BCA. When they send the invoice to the system for the auto entry, they'll also send the appraisal or the condition report that BCA have done. And it will then read all of that, pick out the items on it, automatically add the job cards for the rectification work, and they'll have preset pricing. So if they know that a wheel's £50, a body panel respray is £250, whatever it may be, it will automatically add that and the cost of the vehicle. So
that's mint.
Yeah.
I like that.
And then the next step, they also have like AA inspectors on site at all times. So they have at any one point, I think like 6 or 7 AA mechanics on site, and they do an AA inspection. But again, using their tool, they'll do their own inspection and they'll highlight again what needs doing. And DealerKit's going to be integrating with AA. We've got to still finish off building that, but essentially when they do the report, it will feed all of that into our API integration, and then again create the job cards, necessarily tell you what parts to order, and stuff on the back of what they can do as well. So it'll all be seamless and feed into one system.
We had one because we signed up with Trustpilot. Was it last year? Yeah, last summer, and we didn't realise at the time when we signed up, and Trustpilot's good, we didn't realise that when we create an invoice, so whether it's body shop, sales invoice, or through the servicing, we wanted it just to automatically send that invoice with those details to Trustpilot. Then Trustpilot sends the email to the customer to say, can you leave a review? But there wasn't no automation with Dragons, which we later found out. So they said, which I think must have been about October last year, they says, right, we'll put it on the fix for you and we'll get that ready for the early part of 2025. But that's still not done. So it's maybe 2026 they're looking at.
We've already got that for you.
But does your system do that? Yeah,
Laughing.
That's like a basics, isn't it? I would have thought. Automation, and their system doesn't do automated service and text reminders, which every single garage workshop would. But you have to do it manually. So we'll have a guy who sits down at night time at 5 o'clock and he sends out all the things. It's not automated.
Yeah, we do automated reminders for MOTs. We have a direct link to DVLA that comes into the system. So again, going back to the job cards, one of the things that can allow us to do is if you said your standards, let's say, is every car has a minimum 6 months MOT, you can set your criteria in the back end, put your time rate in, and then when you add a vehicle to stock, if it's got less than 6 months, it will automatically add a job card for an MOT. If it's got, say, 7 months to begin with, we won't add that job card in case you turn that car quickly and it doesn't need it. But if it's in stock a month later and tips under that point, it would automatically add the job card overnight. And again, when you go to the MOT category, they'll all be listed in date order of expiry date, and anything sold is prioritised at the top by handover date. But that DVLA feed will also be able to give you the text reminders for once you've sold a car and for the servicing side. Servicing's a bit trickier because obviously every car's got different intervals, so it's not just generically a year and 10,000, and obviously you don't know how many miles the customer's doing. But if you said, right, well, I'd rather speak to them at a year, and then if it's not quite due, we can then sort of push it forward in our diary. We can do stuff like that. And there's also like contact strategies. So when a salesman completes a deal with one button, it can then automatically put contact points in his diary in the future to say, right, contact them after 24 hours, see how they got on, have they had a good experience, and could you leave us a review? Email goes out automatically as well at the same time. And then it may be you want to revisit in 3 months to see whether they want to upsell warranty, if that expires, that kind of thing. Then a year time, 2 years time. So it puts that all in their diary automatically based on what time scales you want and what contact points you want to create.
I'm guessing your system, so if you, like with us, what I wanted to do was, we sell a car, and I wanted an automated email to go out to that customer, like within 7 days, saying, from the service department, saying, you know, thanks very much for your purchase, where, you know, I'm introducing you, where I'm the service manager, if you need anything, type of thing. So things like that, it's just a given for yours, I take, because our system doesn't do that.
No, absolutely. You just, what we say to dealers, you provide us the copy that you want to put in that content. You tell us what time scale you want to send it out, and it's all automated in the back end.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I think you might have just sold Scott there, like.
I'm nearly in. I like a deal.
I'll
I like a deal. I like a deal.
He's got me.
I'll tell you what, Scott,
I think they've got me.
I'll come up north and we'll have a few Negronis, the old homemade ones.
Ian,
I know obviously we spoke yesterday, but I think why don't you come up? We'll arrange for you to come up and over, because I'm interested in going on a DealerKit 100%, as you know, and I'm sure Scott will be when he gets a good look at it. And obviously we're talking about, you know, integrating Dealerway with DealerKit, so dealers on using the DealerKit platform could just, if they've got overage stock, click one button and just automatically feed that car straight into Dealerway so they can
we'd
show
love
to the trade. So we want to do that. So I think we'll definitely organise getting you up. Well, like you say, Scott likes a Negroni. I still don't know what a Negroni is, but
you couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle it.
You couldn't handle it at 45 quid.
We'll have a night out there. We'll go out on the tune. We'll show you the big market.
On the tune.
We'll get you into a karaoke bar for Stephen, so he can sing you some romantic songs.
Got a voice of an angel.
He has, yeah.
It's the only thing he's ever compliment this for, mind. I'll take it.
Well, it isn't your looks.
I must say, Ian, because Dragon will probably watch this, and every provider will probably be watching this episode, but we do get a good service from Dragon, and they have been very supportive on what we need, where we found problems in their system, where they've had to adapt like you do with your customers, just the same. If you're wanting to headhunt anybody, I could say Holly, who does the sales in Dragon's, really, really good. So if you want
Holly,
another member of your team, she's the one to get. But you can't have it yet if we're still we use Dragon.
We'll pay your referral commission as well, Scott.
Yeah.
If she comes on.
Ian, what would be your favourite feature on the DealerKit platform?
I think it's mentioned on the Car Dealer podcast from James Baggett, but that text notification. I had a dealer that Elliot from EA Automotive, again, lovely guy, and he come on board with us, and I think it was a few weeks or a month or two later, he went on his honeymoon to the Maldives for 3 weeks. And it was the first time he'd left his baby, and he built his business from nothing, and got a really nice site, great setup, nice stock. And he said to me, I'm really nervous about leaving, but basically his mum and dad were going to step in and run the business whilst he was away. And so he did a bit of training with them, and we helped them as well whilst they were away, how to use DealerKit. But he said, the best thing ever, he said, I was on the beach with a cocktail. I got a text come through to say my dad has sold a car. I could see what profit I've made. Another round of champagne. But he could also then log in from his... he could log in from his phone. He could see that his mum was responding to inquiries, stock had been added, advertised. And he said, to have that peace of mind anywhere in the world, to just quickly look at my dealership, see what's going on, and get those live updates. And at the end of the day, we also send a roundup text. So, Scott, take your business. If you sold, I know you sell quite a few cars, but 10, 15 cars a day, wherever it may be, it rounds up and shows how many cars have been sold, how many cars have been reserved, how many cars have been delivered, the total profits across all of those three categories, any cancellations you've had. Then the workshop, it will show how many PDIs have been done, how many cars have been worked on in the workshop from a retail perspective, how many cars have been photographed, valeted, how many leads have come in. You just get an overall picture. So if you're not, like Scott, always on holiday, sun himself.
Right, he's right there. He's got his sus. He's got his sus.
That's what everybody says. It's a myth. It's a myth. I've been away twice this year.
That feature that he's talking about would be ideal for you because just insider knowledge, Scott never works past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. By 4:30, Scott is sat in his pajamas on his luxury diamond encrusted sofa, watching his 150-inch plasma with a Negroni in his hand. And I can see it now. When you switch over to DealerKit, you're going to get this text and go, oh, look at that. Oh,
you'll have it on text, you'll have it on the big screen.
We actually, what we use, we're old-fashioned. We'll call it the sold group in the WhatsApp. So on the WhatsApp group, we'll get like what cars sold with a reg and when it's going out, where the inquiry came from, like as in the town. We know who's put in because the salesman's there. But it doesn't actually give you the information what you've just said there. And it wouldn't obviously do a roundup, a daily roundup would be brilliant. You know your roundup, what it does? Would it give you... Would it pull through like a workshop report and would it pull through things like tech efficiencies or not?
Not the text at the moment is like a high-line summary, just to give you a quick snapshot. Obviously, you could go in and see more information, go into the system, and there's a link at the bottom of the text that kind of goes straight to your DealerKit login. But we're working on adapting because as we've grown the dealership network, we've had more dealers go, actually, could you show me my finance pen rate or this or that? Yeah. So we want to do it so you can be able to customize that text message and have whatever you want set up around your dealership that's important to you. So some will have it more simplified, some will have it more detailed. Yeah. So that's in the dev queue as well to sort of adapt that so you can really customize it.
Stu works out, my sales manager, and Peter, who's my finance director, and Stu gives us a text probably twice a week, which is just an update on where we are, which is your finance pen, your products, how many cars you've sold, like a full breakdown, even the finance companies where, you know, how much business they've had. But that would be good because that there would save him from having to do that. Just press the button.
Well, again, what you can do, we've got a really extensive reporting suite. I'm a bit of a data man, and I used to love being I won't say the word, but a spreadsheet, you know what, back in the day, and I used to run everything from that.
No, go on, see a spreadsheet wanker.
That was my name. Now they've just dropped the spreadsheet, and I'm just the last word. But yeah, for me, the data and seeing that, the analytics is really important. So with our reports, you can run, there's a whole host of reports. There's probably 50, 60, 100 reports you can run. But if you take a report, it can be fully customized. So we have what we call like a column builder. So we give you certain data points we think you may want to see in a certain order. But if you say, well, actually, I want to see number of days in stock, or I want to see the advertising indicator price when it was sold and stuff like that with Auto Trader, you can go into the column builder, you can remove any data point that you want to lose, and then on the left-hand side, you can see all the data points that are possible, and there's pretty much anything you can imagine. And you can just drag and drop them across to the other side, and that will include on the report. You can change the order they sit in, but the really clever bit is where you can group the data. So you can group it by any one of those headings. So let's just say you're spending 30 grand a month with Auto Trader, or it might be 3 grand, and you want to see your return on investment and whether that's actually working for you. You could run a sales summary report, group it by the referral source, and it will then show you, okay, you've done 50 deals from Auto Trader and generated 65 grand profit. You've done 3 from Motors, 2 from Car Gurus, etc. But then you can very quickly, like you said, if a finance guy or rep comes in and they said, how much did you put with us? What commission did you earn? You can just change the grouping by finance provider. It'll now just change the whole way that report looks and say, right, you've done 10 cash deals, you've done 18 with Motor Novo, this is how much you borrowed, this is the commission you've earned, this is how much you put with Santander, and so forth. And you can then save those custom reports. So if take your example, Scott, where your guy needs to send you that data, you could either go in remotely and just click one button to run that report and see the information, or they could go in and just click one button, and you can very quickly change the date range. So if you want to look at it for this month, last month, last quarter, last year, custom date range, it's also quick and easy to do. And then you can export it to PDF or CSV file, etc. from there as well.
Could you, I'm just thinking about use case scenario for Scott, could you, because he does a lot of warranties and products and what have you, could you then filter those? So let's say you advertise on Auto Trader and you advertise on Car Gurus. Could you see, like, well, on Auto Trader, we've had a 60% penetration on products, But then actually when we sold cars with car gurus, we're penetration 75% sort of thing. Could you break it down as granular as
Yeah,
that?
so we have a primary grouping and then a subgrouping. So you might group it by, say, referral source, and then you can group the secondary by the products. So you can see, okay, of those 50 cars we've sold from Auto Trader, 30 of them have had a warranty, and these are the products they've sold, and 10 haven't, or whatever it may be. And there's loads of, whether you're looking at like expenses by supplier and see what you're spending with your dent man and your wheel guys, there's loads of customizability to it. And then what most dealers tend to do is just kind of work out like 4 or 5 or 6 key reports that either we help them set up or they can create themselves. But you've also got like a metrics page, which is a snapshot view of the business at any one point. So all like your pen rates, product incomes, you can see where you're actually selling cars to and where you're buying cars from on like a heat map. And that's really good because you can see in the local area where you're having an impact. If you're running a marketing campaign or you're trying to do your market range extender or Auto Trader, you've actually got the data to see, is that having an impact or not? Is it a waste of your money, or actually should you put more into it? And you can sort of see that live as it's all adapting. But yeah, turnover, average profit per unit, trade sale and profits, it's all on there.
And you know, if you had, say, an advert run on social media, I think you probably just answered that in a way. Could somebody click on that advert, say you had a carousel advert, will look like, I don't know, 100, 200 cars, and they see a BMW and they click that, that takes you through the website. You then, the customer looks on their website and they go, all right, I'll apply for finance. They apply for finance and then they reserve the car, and then they go in and they drive it, and then they buy the car, and those details goes onto then creates the invoice in your system. So I'm guessing that full journey you'd be able to track that back and go, right, that lead and that cost there for that sale came from that actual advert.
So it depends on where it's come from. If it's with one of our website partners, so we partner with Starkwood Media Group and 67 Degrees,
right?
And with that API integration, we can get what they call UTM tracking, and we can almost follow those sort of breadcrumbs all the way back to the original source. So the lead might come in from your website, but before they got to there, they actually Google searched Auto Trader and then went from Auto Trader to your website. So actually the original source may be a Google search, for example, or it might be Auto Trader that's gone to your website. So if it's through those guys, we have that data from the API to go back and get the real referral source. And when a lead comes in, we track that referral source. So if you want to see how many leads you've had from a certain provider or ad channel, we can break all that information down. And again, you can look at cost per lead, cost per sale, all that sort of information. So you can enter your expense for what you're spending on each channel, and we can then give you all the data and analytics on that. If you're using an outside website company, we just get a lead from the website and we can show it's come from that provider, but we can't see before that because it's not on that UTM tracking.
What about things like parts through a workshop? So let's say you order a load of parts and you book them on the system, but those parts don't get booked onto the car because it's went in the mechanic's toolbox and he's taking it home. That's main dealer stuff. Independents wouldn't do such a thing.
It happens.
Could you print out a report and say, here, you booked all these and you paid them, but you haven't attached them to the jobs? Is that?
Yeah, so in the reporting side, again, when you add the expenses in, whether it's scanned in with auto entry or you manually put them in, they go into like the parts inventory, and then you can run a report at any one point and see a breakdown of the supplier, the items, the quantities, the value you've got in stock, and you can go, okay. And also when you then go into a retail booking, a warranty job, or against a stock vehicle, you can just pull that part through and the quantities and the costs will go straight against the vehicle.
And you'd probably even be able to pull it from tech as well, in terms of if there was an issue with a tech taking loads of parts home, for instance, then or someone within the after sales department, you'd be able to pinpoint that person within the data of going, well, actually all these parts that are missing is aligned with this person.
Yeah, so again, with competitor products, they sometimes charge per license, and obviously it can get quite expensive. So most dealers that are coming over from that platform typically will have only paid for like limited licenses, and they have to then share logons. With us, every single person has their own login, providing you're happy for them to have access, and everything's traceable by that user. So if you want to see who completed the PDI, who added that job card, who added that expense, it's all traceable by that user with date and time stamp as well. So you can go back in and
Can you
see
customize what each user is able to see as well?
Yes, we have all different permission levels. So you'll have sort of maybe a workshop user that can't see sales and leads and inquiries, but equally a sales guy, you can convert whether they do or don't see margin. Obviously, super users and sort of sales managers may have sort of basic reporting, full reporting, metrics, accounting, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we customize and adapt it based on what the dealer needs.
And what about things like automation to do with finance? So let's say somebody's got a finance agreement for 4 years. Could you have a trigger in the system? So like 2 years into the agreement, there's an automated email goes out to that customer and, I don't know, are you looking for a car or works out is anything like clever AI where it could hit them with a different deal automatically?
Yeah, so that's one of the features that's kind of, there's elements there we can do at the moment, like the automated emails. So we could say, right, okay, if it's on finance, send out an email at 2 year point. What we want to try and do is go a bit further than that. So when you create a deal and you put it on finance, we ask them for the term, the monthly payment, and a few more bits of information. And that was all put in place to start building the data behind like a prospecting tool, or like as you put out from main dealers, renewals is a massive part of their business, and reaching out to those customers at certain points throughout their agreement is generally crucial for generating new business. So once we've built it, the prospecting tool, you'll be able to go in and say, right, show me all my customers that bought a car, let's say 3 years ago, or have got less than 6 months left on their agreement, or are halfway through. You might even be able to look at like parity and equity points of view, and then target those dealers and mass market them. So that's not there yet, but it's something that's in the dev queue that's we'd like to do at some point. But you're quite right. Most used independents don't tend to focus on that, even though they probably should.
Just thinking out loud there. If you had an integration with, say, Motor Check, for instance, I'm just using them because obviously we integrate with them as well. If you had the data of, look, the agreement started on the 1st of January 2025, you can see that on the Motor Check. So say Motor Check is running in the background, giving you updates on that. You then, like I say, you as Scott was saying, at 2 year point have a trigger. I mean, obviously, normally it's around the 2 year, 30 month mark is when people tend to change. You could run a Motor Check on that. It then checks to see if that finance agreement is still live on that vehicle, to then pull through to then give to fire that email off. I mean, I know main dealers do have that sort of the renewal, but it tends to be per finance company. So like Stellantis have got their finance renewal where they'll do an average of what they think the car is worth at that time. He has the customer settlement letter. I think Santander do it as well, to give, like I say, as a prospecting tool. But independents really don't have that sort of help.
No.
It'd be good, Martin, if it 2 years in could somehow, I'm not saying value the car, but where you get like a part exchange value. Yeah. And then it would know the monthly payment from the data you've already put in. And then you could email the customer with, say, 10 cars. So say they're paying $300 a month, you could say, look, you can have one of these today. It's actually $250 a month now, because this is just a rough estimate where people, they're open their email and think, oh, I'm into that. Yeah, I'm interested in that one. Book your test drive, or they click on the email and then take it forward from there. It was all automated.
As Ian alluded to before, that's already in main dealer land. So in franchise dealers, it's already there.
Is it manually put together though?
No, it's run on AI. I mean, obviously Ian will be able to tell you a little bit better, but it's run by the finance company. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. It's purely finance company specific, and it'll have the customer's details. Basically, they'll have a contact plan in, and your regional manager will come through and have a sit down with you and go, right, these customers are due for renewal. This is the estimated value based on cap clean. You can adjust the figure to wherever you want and what have you. This is the anticipated settlement. This is how much equity or negative equity they've got. Right, put one of your, and you can link your own cars into it. So you can go, right, your 3 series, as you were saying before, Scott. Right, this is the finance, this is the GFE we'll give on that 3 series. This is the customer's equity. If the customer puts in $1,000 like they did last time, then this is going to be the new monthly payment. And you can fire out an email to the customer which has a targeted car. Those systems exist, but like I say, and we alluded to before, is they're in main dealer land and everything's in separate systems. But it'd be good to get one centrally, i.e. if DealerKit can crack that one.
It'd be good for automation for warranties as well, because sometimes you sell a warranty and people are like, oh, not worth the paper they're written on, and warranties can be £1,000, £2,000, whatever. And if somebody has a warranty that they paid, say, £1,000 for, and they've had it for 2 years, and they've put claims in on that warranty where they paid £1,000 for it, it would be good, like an automated email which went out to that customer. I'm not saying congratulations, but like, you made a good choice. You paid for this warranty and you've had £1,500 of the claims of it. So then the next time they go and buy a car, they'll think, I'll buy another warranty this time. Because they'll forget over the months that the warranty's actually paid for stuff.
Exactly. And all that information, that data is going to be in DealerKit. It's just how you then surface it. But you're quite right, Martin. I mean, back in my day within the franchise world I think renewals was probably about 40% of the business. So of the deals we did every month, 40% came from us outwardly prospecting customers. And I think statistically, the average term that a customer would finance is 48 months, but the average change point was 23 months. So it's just under 2 years. So a lot of dealers would wait until they get into that last 6 months or even a year, and it's too late. And you ring them up, they go, "Oh, I've changed it a year ago." So I'm a nightmare for it. I change my cars all the time, and obviously now I need to because of the mileage. But I might put it on a 3-4 year agreement. But if you come to me in a year's time with a good deal and dangle something in front of me that's nice and new and shiny, I'm your culprit and be like, yeah, sign me up. It's getting inside the mindset of a customer.
It's also for when times are hard like it is now. I mean, like I say, there'll be a lot of salespeople around the whole country sitting, possibly twiddling their thumbs, going, right, what do we do? Main dealers they'll have the whip out, and it'll be prospecting nights and sales events, and we've all been Rhino event and stuff like that. Independent land that don't have that.
Don't do it.
That data, because you don't have the data. All you've got is a list of I sold these cars 3 years ago, and right, go and hit them. Or 2 years ago, or whatever.
Sorry, Mark, when you mentioned the word whip there, I just imagine Scott sitting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on his diamond encrusted sofa with his whip and his virtual whip in his hand going, prospect!
Yes.
Whipping one hand, groaning in the other.
I don't know where this sofa's come from. Is it like your Lamborghini in the garage?
No, well, a little bit, yeah. Just obviously, anyone that hasn't been to Scott's house, it's like going into Buckingham Palace. It's,
It's the King's Northernly stay.
Everything's pruned within an inch of its life. And like, obviously, Jane, Scott's missus, is I mean, when I was last there was cleaners, and Jane was like supervising the cleaners. Make sure you get in there. Make sure you get in there. And
she helps them clean.
Oh, it's another world, mate. Honestly,
so weird, isn't it?
It's like peeking into a billionaire's paradise. That's what it is.
I wish.
Ian, just one thing I was going to ask on the we send. What I've been doing for a few years now, and most dealers I would implore you that you should be doing it with all the regulations around finance now. But we send every single customer an e-sign document out, with a commission disclosure on, where we'll literally sort of, it's overkill really, but we'll go over the finance agreement, everything that they've agreed to sign for, because most of our deals are done on the phone, and we'll just, we'll get that customer's sort of like double signature, if you see it, to cover our own backs and tell them what commission we're getting, who we're getting it from, and all the rest of it. But we use a separate piece of software that, I mean, it's not expensive, it's like £40 a month that handles that. But would DealerKit be able to do that for us as well?
Yeah, so we've got eSign as a tool and works really, really well. And again, Oliver built his own version. Initially, we built it to integrate with DocuSign and Adobe. But when you go to them and ask for licensing fees, they want, I think it's between £1.87 and £2.34 per envelope. And we just thought that's just too expensive. So Oliver's like, I'll build my own and I'll build it a lot cheaper. So we're down to like 20 pence per sign, which is cheaper than it's costing to print it and put it on physical paper. So we're now showing a cost saving to a lot of dealers, and it works so easy and simple for the customer.
So I could effectively provide DealerKit with my document that I want signed. And then we could send that out. It will cost us 20 pence to go every time someone signs it, and that's it. Inside DealerKit.
But that could be put in within your document pack that you're already going to send. So it's almost saving that extra 20 pence. The only thing with it at the moment is when that whole thing came out and they shut down the funding and bits and pieces, we was quite prepared to quickly react, and we was going to build something where the trouble we've got potentially with that is that the customer, when you first stack the deal, when you send perhaps an order form, you may not prop them to know what rate and what the deal's going to be and what that commission's going to be. So you can't send it out with the original order form. Equally, if you wait till we do the handover pack, they would have signed their document for payout, so it's too late. So it needs to be a separate document that's almost fired out in between those two processes once you know the information. But we started to build a trigger that would do all of that, and it would be stemmed within our system. You can track every finance deal, what the advance is, what the term is, the customer, the lender, but you can also put the commission in, and then obviously track the payout status. You can see how many deals are waiting for payout, waiting for signature, and those that have been banked. And that all feeds the metrics. So we thought, well, at the point you put the commission in, you could then click one button, it fires out the commission status to the customer, e-sign the document, comes back in. We started to build that, and then we kind of got advice from brokers and lenders saying actually the responsibility and ownership is on the lender and the broker, and it's not so much on the dealer. So I'm not sort of saying you wouldn't do that, and we've got dealers that do both just to cover themselves. I think that's a great idea.
We'll just do it to cover ourselves, really, just
exactly.
with the amount of the volume of finance that we do. We just think it's a no-brainer, you know.
So we've got dealers where they've given us their disclosure document, but they have to sort of then input the figure, the commission. We wanted again to try and streamline that further and automate it. So again, it's in the dev queue, but we'll be able to just put the commission in, hit save, and then fires it out free sign at that point. So yeah.
And obviously, what we've already spoke about, you know, my sort of wish for moving across the DealerKit is that you'd send all the finance companies proposals via the system. All right, did you? Oh, we'll do it live. Then what was it? What was the crack?
We've got so much on at the moment. We're definitely up to having a chat and seeing what we can do. But we sort of said, could we perhaps do something in the new year? So sort of January onwards, we've got, with this massive project coming up and other new features, we just haven't got the bandwidth for the moment. But 100%, we'd love to come and meet you guys and have a chat. It'd be good to get, again, your feedback to know what you want, how it would look and feel. We've got our own ideas, but it'd be nice to get your feedback from that side.
Just so everyone knows, obviously Scott Martin and the rest of the audience, like, we use a separate system, AutoConvert, which manages all our finance applications from start to finish, and we're proposed to the various lenders using that system. And I know there's other ones, there's iVendy, there's DealTrack and what have you. But I just would be fantastic if you had your DMS system where you put the customers, you already had the contact strategy in with the customer, and then you got the point, well, right, press one button and it sends to your various lenders, and you get the decisions back, and then you produce the finance documents, you get an e-sign, it's all in one system, then it does the car invoice, and you're game changer then, like, if we can get that working.
We actually had an inquiry come through today, like a new lead, and I reached out to them this morning before the podcast. And
I know you're going to say it is. It's Mark from Right Drive. Yeah, he texted us this morning.
And he mentioned about, like, we're looking for something that doesn't really exist, and pretty much replicated the conversation we had last night. And
well, that's obviously one of the dealers who I was saying was in the WhatsApp group with
I said to him, I don't suppose you're in a WhatsApp group with Steve, are you? And he went, yeah. I said, yeah, we talked about this last night. So I said, yeah, hold that thought. We're going to have a conversation. So he's booked in for a demo, I think, next Friday. So we showed him what we do.
Good.
There's a system I used to use back in the Reg Vardy days, which is called Showroom, and that did do what you're saying. It took you through a process. So you inputted the customer. There was tabs on the top. Peter will know this one, Scott. Mm-hmm. And you then entered the finance application in. You then, obviously, after you structured a deal, done your compliance bit and what have you, and then literally the managers could then go in and fire it off to the actual finance companies. Mm. It was good. It's very good, and it's just free flowing, and you get the response back from the finance lender. But that's what I was going to ask you in terms of like deal presentation. Do you have finance company feed-ins yet or not, whereby you get GFV values to, we present higher purchase and PCP at the same time?
When you're within a vehicle record, there's an option to hit finance at the top, and you get a calculator display, and you can show HP and PCP side by side. You can change deposit amounts and terms, but that relies on feeding from a finance calculator, whether it be Code Weavers, iVendy, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So if, unfortunately, they charge us or the dealer extra to have that within a third-party product like ourselves. So some dealers who pay for that, we can input that and ingest the details, and then you've got accurate APRs, accurate residual values. Yeah. And it's more used if you're sitting with the customer and they said, I've got £2,000 deposit and £350 a month. Am I in the right sort of ballpark, you can put some rough figures in and go, yeah, do you know what, you're on the right car there, or we're not far apart, or actually that's not the right car for you, let's look at this, sort of thing. But obviously it then doesn't go out to the lenders, which is something that we might be able to look into.
And you do the same with AutoTrader account as well. If someone's obviously using AutoTrader, you feed all the data back from AutoTrader, don't you, into DealerKit, so you can see the price and things and what have you.
So we're a tech partner with AutoTrader, and we use their integrated API. So we can send them a lot of information from our system, but we can also ingest a lot of information. So if I take, for example, the pricing screen, when you're pricing your vehicle, you'll see your current margin, net after marginal VAT and expenses. Below that, you'll have all the price indicators. So you can see good, great, low, high, fair price. And you can see what the car's sitting at. So let's say it's a fair price and you're keen about maybe getting to a good price. You can sit there and you can see in the top right-hand corner what the suggested retail price would be at 100% of retail. And you can manually price it and it will go, okay, you're now in good price. But it may be you're not maximise your margin. So you could sit there and go, okay, if I go to, let's say it was at 10.5 and you've now dropped it to 10,000, it would then tell you in good price. But then you go, can I go to 10.1 and still get good price? Can I go 10.2? And you're sitting there playing around, just hit the good price indicator. It jumps straight to the highest price point of that tier and will maximise your margin. And it's very quick to sort of reprice your stock.
That's good.
We can go one step further. Someone like yourself, Scott, with a load of stock, I'd imagine whoever does your repricing is a full-time job. And
Me.
by the time you finished it,
it's not a full-time job. It's till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, it goes.
Well, Scott, I could probably have in the pub drinking the Grodies by about 2 o'clock rather than 4 o'clock. But essentially, you can. We've got like a price tracking feature, so you can tick it on whichever cars you do or don't want to stock. You do your whole stock or just individuals. But you can then link it to either a percentage of AutoTrader's retail price or a price indicator. So let's say you want to keep it in good price. If today good price was £10,540, you set a minimum margin as well. So let's say you've got £1,600 in the car and you said, right, it's 62 days in stock, don't go below £1,200. You put your minimum margin in, and providing it's not going below that figure, it will automatically reprice on a daily basis. So if tomorrow good price moves by £10, £20, it will automatically adjust it for you to keep it in good price, which increases your chances of getting an inquiry and converting that deal and it tipping to fair price.
I just wouldn't turn up for work anymore. I would just sit on my diamond set if I had that.
Podcast only.
Just email me the contract through. Sorry, Dragon, if you watch it. I'm away.
Well, I was going to ask on that, and I'll possibly make a suggestion. Is there a possibility whereby you could get AI to look at, because if you're feeding in the data from AutoTrader, so say for instance, you know how AutoTrader says the amount of clicks that you've had on the vehicle, and it gives you that sort of price mark, price marker on it, and like you say, Scott's wanting to be in good price. Could you have an AI feature then would sort of say, look, because of the views you're getting on the vehicle, the marketplace that's around that car at the moment, this is a recommended retail price that we would give on that vehicle?
It's, as always...
Do you know what I mean? Sort of as a suggestion.
It's definitely possible. We're sort of embracing the AI at the moment and we use it in lots of different parts and there's a lot more coming as well. So watch this space and some real clever stuff.
If you've got a car that's sort of gaining lots of interest and you've priced it too cheap in the market, it would also, push it up, react the other way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, on the price tracking, it will go up and down. So, post-COVID and stuff, there was a lot of cars that kept going up and up and up, and you'll see, and each priced amendment is tracked and audited, so you can see, okay, the DealerKit system put it up or down £10, or Scott goes in, for example, and changes it by £250 on that date and time. But we don't currently do that with AI, but there's no reason why we probably couldn't. There'll be an argument to sort of say, how much trust you want to put in AI, because it might say, okay, you're getting inquiries and it's sitting at this price indicator, but you might know that actually it's a one owner car, it's got $3-4 grand of options on there, it's got full main dealer history, and that should be sitting at a fair price and it should sit there. And if that's kind of trying to say, well, that should be a good price, it may go against what you think with your experience and your gut instinct. So it depends on that. But again, you can control what is and isn't controlled on that. For sure.
Yeah.
Ian, finally from me as well, because obviously I don't use AutoTrader, especially not to price me vehicles. We use glasses and then we're doing actually
Glasses,
go by
blimey.
Oh yeah, well,
Still
got the
well, obviously because we're not on Auto Trader and we're not competing on price like every other Tom, Dick, or Harry. We're just obviously set our own prices for cars, and what we do is basically
fortunes.
what we do is we'll price our cars to I'm not going to tell you, but we'll price our cars to a percentage of glasses retail. It's over 100. So basically, what I'm asking is, would we be able to see that, like, because we've obviously got a glasses account, would we be able to see the pricing structure of that if we put a car in or not? Is there a link in there?
We have integration with CAP and Auto Trader. Auto Trader's data's free when you've got the account. Little bit of I should not say this, but Auto Trader are talking about giving it for free to anyone with or without an account soon.
Ooh,
so that may be coming very soon. We can use CAP. CAP do charge, unfortunately, to display their data within a third-party product. So again, some dealers like richly pay for it, and we can show you CAP and Auto Trader side by side, which is useful.
Yeah.
More and more dealers we've noticed have moved away from CAP, and I think because of again where they retail.
Brego or something, I've heard of like that. That's a new Picasso or Brego. There's a couple of them now, isn't there? A couple of new ones.
Not heard of that one, no. But I'll be honest with you, Steve. The only person I know that's still using glasses, if I'm honest.
No.
To be fair, he's recording this on an Amstrad.
Well, you know that. you know that WhatsApp group that I mentioned, and obviously the dealers in there, they're all the same.
Are they?
The same as me, yeah.
Wow. We don't at the moment. I mean, that's not to say if they've got an API integration, we could definitely reach out to them and plumb that in. I don't know how you get a thick book into a bit of software, but we could certainly try.
No, it's digital, don't worry. No, glasses, you'd be surprised how many finance companies use glasses retail.
Okay. But yeah, no, definitely possible.
Good stuff. So Ian, obviously we've been rambling on now for an hour and a half. It's been great. It's just flew over. But I think we'll have to end it at some point. How does a dealer that's been watching the show and is interested in DealerKit, how do they go about getting a demo with you?
So the best thing is probably going through our website. Obviously we're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, so you can go and find us. We've got a lot of customer testimonial videos, so if people want to sort of get a bit of an insight into some of the features and how it works and customers' experiences coming away from either competitor products or coming from manual systems, there's lots of videos on there. But the best method, if you go to our website, which is dealerkit.co.uk or dealerkit.com, both will get you there. And they can just leave us some brief details. And we'll get in touch. Either myself or the guys will be in touch, and we'll arrange a demo either in person or via Teams, whichever they prefer, and show what we do best.
And what Ian was going to say there was, if you mentioned that you've seen through DealerPod and you sign up, he's gonna send me, Scott and Martin, some PR tokens. Some vouchers.
Well,
that's what you're going to say, weren't you?
When I seen them down at the car dealer live, I did promise some Greg Stotties and peas pudding. But
Ian, I was going to ask, Ian, are you going to the independent awards, the Motor Trader Industry Awards?
Not that one. We're at the car dealer ones in London, not the industry ones, unfortunately.
I'm just trying to get Stephen a seat on a table. He's like, I've got no friends. No, I've got a table to sit with. So he's like, please, can I sit on your table? So
we'd love to come with the invites there.
No, well, that's what we're looking for the other way.
Oh, okay.
We're looking for someone to pay for us.
Okay, well, I promise you next year we'll get you on our table.
Champion, well, that's fantastic. I'll hold you that. And if anyone wants to get us, what is it, the Motor Trader
Industry Awards at the Grosvenor House.
Right, if anyone wants to invite a pauper of a used car dealer on that table, I'm your man.
And I can say as well, he's good for drinks afterwards. If you get some local karaoke bars, he'll do a few songs.
Do a few songs for you.
But entertaining.
I'll tell you what, I'll do an exclusive. So if anyone comes to us and mentions DealerPod, they'll get 10% off their premium.
Oh,
for life.
Yes, there you go.
That's good.
Oh,
there
for life. Oh, we're already in the discounts
10%.
now, Scott. Champion. Right,
that's
great. Happy days. Well, yeah, so if you do mention DealerPod, there you go, 10% off. So that's fantastic. But yeah, Ian, listen, just want to thank you for coming on, mate. It's been a pleasure.
Been a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Looking forward to you coming up, and we'll have a night out there.
We'll definitely organise that. Yeah, I'll get in touch with some dates, 100%.
Good stuff. Right,
Lovely.
For everyone else, thanks for sticking around. Make sure you check out DealerKit, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
See you.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.